It's the third time I'm recording this video. So I'm not going to be as hot and as well, I'm still going to be hot. I'm not going to be as heated going into this, but I'm still going to give you guys a taste of my initial frustration. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to another video. Another reaction video, specifically. Now, like I said at the beginning, I previously tried watching this 3 times. Well, I watched it 3 times. No. This is the 3rd time watching it. Sorry. I tried recording it 3 times. I'm so flustered. I'm just ready to dive into this and sink my teeth into every bit of it. This video, now I want to say out of the gate that I respect the voiceover talent of Funimation. I want to say that right out of the gate. I respect Funimation. They have made anime and doing anime voiceover popular in America. They're not the first. They don't do all the anime, they don't do all the dubbing, but they're the ones that made it popular and way more mainstream than it was years ago. A lot of us voiceover talent probably got into voiceover partly because of Funimation. So they do earn a little bit of respect. In fact, they earn a lot of respect. But that is not what this video is going to be. This video is going to be me tearing into something that absolutely pissed me off when I first watched this. And there's a lot of things that are going to be said in here. There's a lot of things that they're going to show that infuriated me. And still will. Not as ragey. It's not going to be as ragey, but oh boy, is it going to be good. So, the video is titled, How a Dub from Home Gets Made. /Funimation. So, and it's on their YouTube channel. That was what I'm reacting to. Link down in the description. Again, I respect everyone who's in this video, but there's a lot of things that are going to come off very ignorant. Let's get into this. Let's get right into this.
Then you have to squeeze your body in with hope and prayer because that ceiling's so low, the door won't open all the way. So you gotta like squeeze yourself in.
I don't know why it's so funny.
I got another beautiful mattress pad, so when I get really
Standard.
tired, I just be like, ugh, this is freaking taking forever.
Oh, it's so tiring. Oh my God, it's so exhausting recording in a studio. Yeah, that's what you do anyway. You're supposed to be standing there. You're supposed to be exhausted. When you're exhausted, you know you've done a good job. Again, I'm not bashing these voice actors.
First, when everything started, we all realized that we were going to have to work from home.
Talking about COVID.
What was that like? What were the first steps in figuring out how to solve this huge thing that you've now put into place?
It's not a huge thing.
Figuring out how do we do this?
How do we do this?
How do we
No
record
one's
from
ever
home?
done this
Take
before.
An entire recording studio, not just one studio, 9 studios. Our entire production we run full time, all day, all night. How do we take all of that and now put it in everybody's house?
Everybody is completely separate.
There you go. That is the premise of this video. That is the stuff that, ooh, just from that alone got me so excited. Oh my gosh. So, when COVID struck and, they live in California and, California, New York and stuff like that, the rules for, lockdown and businesses were way more strict and way more stringent. Stringent? Is that the word? I think. And so, there's a lot of people, you couldn't have a certain number of people in a building at once and all this kind of stuff. So it was just easier for them to work from home. And for people in LA, for professional voiceover artists, who are used to being in a studio and don't have their own home studio. Oh my gosh, I almost broke this. Have their own home studio that they can break. They didn't know what to do. And they're going to present this as if this is new and groundbreaking, and I assure you, it is not. This is a problem that we have already solved.
And then bring
the independent market
actor into that.
How do we take care of everybody? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we do this safely? How do we continue going and still maintain the quality that we're used to, the speed and accuracy that we're used to?
That's what
There are a few challenges that they are going to present that I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, there are a few issues that obviously you're going to run into. But this is actually something that fan dubs and abridges have already solved. They've already handled this. Not even fan dubs and abridges. I mean, just look at anyone who does cartoons on YouTube. Most of them do not have their own studio. They actually hire voiceover talent, Cartoon Hooligans. I work with Cartoon Hooligans. They are not where I live. I record from my studio. And there's there's other voice actors, they record from their studio. And as long as the quality is good and you have an audio engineer who knows what they're doing, it's not that hard to get people to sound, of the same quality. It's
never been done before.
Never been done before.
So, Lauren.
Never been done before. Let's go back a little bit. Oh, God. Let's go back. Oh, God. Oh.
An accuracy that we're used to.
That's what's never been done before.
So, Lauren, what is
The
this
accuracy
video
and quality. Oh, it's never been done
We're
before.
making a video about the dub from home process that our production team at Funimation has been working on. It's a process that we've kind of heard about in bits and pieces, and we knew was happening, and obviously the whole company had to work from home, and we kind of started hearing more and more they have all the different actors recording in different places, and that alone seemed like a pretty incredible story.
It's not! It's not incredible! It's not! It's absolutely not! That's not that hard to do. It's absolutely not that hard to do. This has been going on for a very, very long time. At least 15 years that I know of, when people have had really high quality studios in their own home. At least 15 years. Because I learned about this from other people. I'm not the first, obviously. I'm obviously, this is not the best home studio to ever record in. I'm not the best at it. I have not had a home studio for the longest time. There's people who've been doing this way longer, who are way more professional, get way more work. They're independent, they work from home. This stuff has been around for a long time. I cannot understand how you don't even know that that's possible.
When it first hit, my first thought was well, we're just gonna have to just not record for several months.
Neil had something within, I think, the first 5 days.
He has his own
the
studio.
prototype pulled together. Neil is one of our mix engineer extraordinaires. Here's a guy who invented something that's never been done before.
Stop saying that!
Just go and
It's
pick it up.
wrong! It's flagrantly wrong!
Hey, can we even do
It's
this
either
thing?
ignorance or
They said, well,
lying.
let's do recording from home. And
Everything
You
shut
have your own
down.
booth.
We were all stressed and we were just all reaching out to each other.
It was a Monday that we kind of decided the office is closing.
So the next few days, weeks, was all about trying to invent a process, something that would actually
Invent something.
work and would
Invent the wheel. What you're about to see is going to drive you crazy. If you're like me, it's going to drive you crazy just as much as it does me. The idea that they're reinventing the wheel or doing something that's never been done before, and they will keep saying that, and it's going to keep bothering me. Let's do this.
was scalable, kind of out of thin air, for us at least.
There were multiple
Yes,
teams
for
working
you.
at once in order to do it quickly. So while they were conceiving of just the device, we were also conceiving of how
The
the process
device.
would work.
This
at
is
the
gonna be
same
good.
time.
We went
Trust
from
me.
Tuesday going, how do we even do Wednesday
this?
going, okay, there might be a way to do this. There's a way to do this. We've got to figure out how it all works. And then by Friday going, wow, as soon as, we've got all the equipment that we need in place, we're going to do this.
And over the weekend,
Oh,
just testing
God.
it, and sure enough, it's like, yeah, this will actually work.
Justin and I were all working out the process before we even fully had an understanding of what the
All they had to
device
do
looked
was
like
Google.
or how it
home
would be
studio.
operated.
I promise you, all of this that they're about to show has already been done.
Because we want to get into as many people as possible. So that was also an additional challenge, that we wanted to keep it affordable. So we tried to have it very small. We had to potentially mail these out of state. So they had to be small enough to send as a package. We couldn't just send a whole studio room or anything else.
What is the kit? It's mythological.
This mythological, this weird hybrid of magic and technology, this alchemy. How could you possibly create a home studio or recording space that's decent quality? It's impossible.
Is an iPad a microphone stand with a fairly small but very good microphone that hooks up directly to the iPad lightning port, a pop screen, and a pair of headphones. And that's really it. It's fairly simple.
It was very small and portable. It fit into a 16-inch box. They could set it up and break it down. I didn't want them to have to put something up and have it permanently stuck in their house for however long this was going to be. Then we'd order all the parts and have them arriving, and we'd have to connect each individual microphone. We'd have to make sure and test every single cable, every single component and part, saying, does this work? Some of them were
They make it sound more complicated than it actually
Initially,
is.
They were coming to
the microphone you're about to see.
Mostly Neil's house.
We thought, well,
I mean, my
10
God.
of these. Oh my gosh, not 10 of them. That's too many. And quickly became 30, came 70, came 110.
Then it got real for Neil when 170 boxes showed up at his house to ship.
There we go. There, behold, what they got. This magical gift, this gear, this mystery items, these trinkets and baubles of mystic power. I own those headphones. That is a pretty simple, basic microphone stand. There is an Apogee mic right there. Apogee plugs right into the iPad, and a standard cheap iPad holder that you can get off Amazon. All of this, every bit of this you can get from Amazon. And a lot of this is stuff I've already reviewed. I've shown how to. Some of this I've used on the road when I have to make my own portable studio. Again, all of this has been around for a long time. Long time. And some people, not these people, I don't know if any of these voice actors are these people, but I know quite a few professional voice actors from LA that would scoff at that microphone, at the Apogee mic. They're, that's not professional. You cannot make professional voiceover with that kind of, you can't do it with a USB mic? Are you insane? Are you crazy? Blah, blah, blah. And now that they have to, now that it's lockdown, now that it's panic mode, they're like, I guess we'll do what the independent market has been doing.
Yeah.
We probably had $80,000 worth of equipment in his house.
The idea snowballed so quickly. We hadn't even really proved it by the time we were already ramping it up.
Quickly changed
strategy.
strategy.
There's no way of proving that this would work.
Of what was happening, and we shifted all of those materials to the office. During that time, nobody was allowed into the building, so you had to get special permission.
And then discovering how to pack that up, how to ship that out.
Now,
discovering how to pack
we're not just a recording studio. Now we're a ship.
One thing that I would have said is there's actually what would have saved them in size of packaging is there's actually, and it's one that I travel with, it's a collapsible, telescopic mic stand that every part collapses 3 times, and that would have saved them a lot more space. Would have been a little bit more expensive than the standard mic stand that they got, but if their issue was size, there's a collapsible one that works really, really well. It's not the only one, but
shipping company.
In safe conditions, we
Right.
need to ship it out to people in ways that they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, how to sterilize all the equipment, how to make sure it's all packaged appropriately.
Because people are afraid of dying from COVID.
Driving,
which I am not going to get into the argument and the debate of how deadly, how fatal the COVID virus was, whatever. But it's all about individual people's safety and their comfort level. So that's totally fine. If someone's like, I would prefer it if you wiped everything down with alcohol wipe and it stayed, in a room to be isolated for a couple days. That's fine as long as they're comfortable, as long as they're safe, whatever. But
so you recorded a
it's
couple
crazy.
lines after the dub from home process started. How would you describe the pressure of getting this right?
Oh, there's definitely pressure. Even as somebody who is not a professional voice actor and only had 2 lines, you're absolutely aware that this is an audience that is really heavily tuned in to audio and dubbing and has a high expectation for quality. There's absolutely pressure to meet that and, you know, make that expectation happen.
Anime is so unique in the world of voice acting because there's so many technical aspects of it that people don't often think of. We record individually as actors, so we...
Other than syncing up to the lip flaps, there's not really that much that's different to other mediums. You know, like doing cartoon or video game, you can basically record it on your own, you know, time frame. You can pretty much record it however you feel comfortable as a voice actor, and then they just match whatever is going on to whatever it is that you're saying. But with dubbing, you know, English dubbing, you have to match the lip flaps. But everything else is technically the same. Same quality, normally the same gear, same kind of treatment in the space. They're normally using the same editing tools. You know, it's not really that much different.
We rarely get to work with each other in real time.
Even if the actor does have a sound booth, if it doesn't sound consistent with the other actors, the show's not going to sound right. And we want the product
This is true.
to sound good and be faithful even under these conditions.
Which is probably why you probably all should have owned your own booth on some level. Look, I don't understand some voice actors and the idea of not owning your own booth. If you're a voice actor, it is a good investment. Even if you set up a closet space, you know, that's temporary. Or if you go all out and get a whisper room, you need something to at least do auditions. I don't get the idea of always going into a studio to do auditions and, you know, renting space or only going into the studio for the other. I don't get that. I really feel like you should have your own booth. You should have your own space to record in. That has always driven me crazy. They should have had something. They should have had some awareness of microphones and treatment and the stuff that goes into it. The fact that you could walk into a studio, everything is just a gray blur, and you walk out with no information and knowledge. I don't understand that.
So I couldn't imagine how we do this now. It's like, oh God, we're going to add another barrier to sounding genuine by forcing all of us to record from home.
And the fan expectations, because if you're used to putting things out weekly, you want to continue like, oh my gosh, there's people watching the show. I'm watching this show.
It actually would be faster if everyone had their own space and they just had a good connection to get it to you rather than booking everyone in free time.
And the writers, if they're on hand, to help us sound like we're actually having a conversation with a flesh and blood human being.
But that's what you do anyway when you're in this. That's not a new challenge. Sounding like you're having a conversation with someone that's not there, that's something that you already do. Dubbing, because when you dub, okay, when it comes to cartoon and video game, sometimes they will actually have a group of people recording at the same time, you know, close proximity or whatever. Go watch the behind the scenes of Clone Wars. You know, you'll see a lot of people in one space recording together, and it's really good when, you know, to be able to act off of each other. But when it comes to dubbing, you're never in a space with someone else. You're always recording by yourself. You're always recording on your own because it's easier to just, you know, focus for both the engineer, director, and you to focus on just dubbing one person and then just try to get that one character done and then go on to the next one. It's just easier to work with the syncing and the time frame and trying to get it to match than trying to juggle 2 people at the same time. So that should be something that they're used to, trying to make it sound like you're having a conversation with people. You're actors. You're voice actors. This is part of the job.
We're all working together 6 feet plus apart. Yeah. And that's not usual for our industry. We're very close quartered.
No, not for voice actors. No, that's not a thing.
Funimation studio, and you trust that everything's gonna go well.
We need at least 3 people in the room We usually have an engineer, a director, and your actor.
We would have 20 shows at any given
Like I
time.
said.
We have 9 recording rooms, and what we would do is we'd have one actor come in at a time.
There's the script and the video, everything's ready to go. The engineer and the director have what they need and they're ready to go, and that's it.
And that actor would perform their character's lines, one line at a time.
And I'm able to edit it on a
It's not that different. You're already in the booth alone. Now, what they're about to show is that they do have a method for connecting live with people, connecting live with you. And there's a little bit of delay. And yes, that is a challenge, connecting with delay and giving proper feedback without losing connection or anything like that. That's something that's totally understandable. Totally understandable. That's going to happen regardless. I think Pro Tools is the only one that has like the least latency when you can connect with some kind of landline on some level. And obviously, not everyone is going to have that in their home. Even a lot of professional, independent home studio voice actors don't have landlines or I don't know what they're called, but they're like phone line connecting boxes, that kind of thing. It's an old system, but it's still tried and true. It's still pretty reliable. That's pretty much the only way to like really truly connect live. But you know, it shouldn't be that different. When you're in the booth as a voice actor, after you're given the instructions, after you're given the lines and you have the footage and you see what it is you're supposed to do and you're in the mode, everything else should just be, you know, blank. The fact that there's a director and an engineer on the other side of the glass should be nothing to you. You know, it should be out of sight, out of mind. You should be focused on, you know, performing. That shouldn't have changed.
computer all in one room.
And they would go through their part.
I have mad respect for engineers, by the way.
They would start that process over.
Those guys work the hardest sometimes.
And that usually takes
especially
us
when it's
for a
like
single episode,
not that great voiceover and they're like, I gotta make this sound better.
So 20 episodes per week. I would disperse it to my team and we would mix it and send it back to the director, check it off, and then next day you guys are watching.
I think a lot of this is Pro
That's kinda how
Tools,
it works.
like I was talking
What
about.
is different between the product that you all are expected to put out versus just picking up a microphone?
There's some real stark differences between a YouTuber or a person who plays games and kind of records themselves. One, it's the sonic sound. Those streaming microphones compress or push the sound all together. They sound great through that kind of a feed.
It's not the microphone, dude. Unless you're talking about a headset mic. Professional YouTubers and streamers and gamers, which kind of a large, broad, you know, painting brush. A lot of the professionals still use professional gear. They still use professional microphones. They use, you know, really good mixers. There's a lot more people on YouTube and, you know, Twitch and stream and gameplay and record for YouTube that are very much aware of how to get clean audio. It's not the microphone. You know, there isn't like a YouTube mic. There isn't a stream mic. You know, there are microphones, and a lot of people that do professional YouTube, professional professional Twitch streamers, they use professional microphones. This is a professional mic. This is $1,000. I'm on YouTube. That doesn't change anything. YouTube doesn't make this shitty. Twitch doesn't make this shitty. Someone not knowing what they're doing, buying the right crap, that makes it shitty. Just because someone is gaming, streaming, or on YouTube doesn't make it shitty.
When you put them into something that's a film
I've heard
or a
professional
television
work
show, they
that
don't
sounds
sound
like
as good.
garbage.
There's a real tonal difference. Those shows tend to be very open in the dynamics. Somebody's voice in a whisper to a yell. Those things, you need that sense of emotion.
That's all about
dynamic,
gain.
And you feel
Just
it
make sure
when
the
it's not
gain's
there.
right.
When you hear something and it's a different room,
If it's going to be
our
loud,
job is
turn
to
the
try to
gain down.
totally match those things.
We've gone from having 9 recording studios to literally hundreds of recording studios that we're all working from every single day.
That's how
When
it
you
should be.
start factoring in all of those things, and
my
then start
opinion,
factoring in
that's how it should
all
be.
these
It's not a
different
bad thing.
environments and the different internet speeds and connections and the way we were communicating.
Okay, that
Can we
is
even
that
talk
is
to
a
the
problem.
actor? Can they even hear
But it's
us
not
back?
undoable. It doesn't
All
make
of
or
that
break it.
together, it's you start seeing how this became such a mounting challenge and what's so complex about it.
I still love that it's like as
The
he's
thing that I
explained the
keep
internet and how it
coming
could be
back to with this, with every interview
a challenge.
That, we have with every
That makes me
person
laugh.
we talk to is the sheer scale of what is happening. The old process, which was very in depth, happened in studios, and it's a controlled environment.
And it was magic to us, and we didn't know what happened. We just assumed everything was fine. I can't stress enough that I'm not making fun of these people. I'm making fun of the concepts and the ideas. I just want to keep saying that. And I know that some people are like, you shouldn't apologize if someone's being stupid or saying something crazy, but that's just my nature. I don't want to attack these people. I don't like attacking people. I like attacking ideas. Well, I don't like attacking ideas, only if they're stupid. But that's what we're doing here. We're not making fun of them. We're making fun of the concept and idea.
And
that this has never been done before.
Rotate in and out. That is out the window at this point. And now it's
And that's fine.
people, but they're in all different places. So then you have all of the different factors for each of those different people. So this person's kids, partner, whatever is happening around them in their home.
Just
and
make
then on
sure
top of
you
that, scheduling
work
and timing
while
for
they're
them and
all
those
gone
other
or at
people when
work
they
or
can
at
move and
school.
find a place, and then you have like
If you
the
had a
engineer
whisper room
and
or if you set up
what
a
is
nice
their
booth that
internet
had
like, and all
treatment,
of these
this wouldn't have been a
factors for them,
problem.
And this network of all of the different pieces that have to all come together and line up completely correctly to get
It's not lining up stars or planets. You just gotta schedule a good time when everyone else is either asleep or out of the house or it's the quietest. That's what we gotta do. That's what independent voice actors in their own home studio gotta do. There are hours of the day that are the loudest that I can't record. I know that. I know when in my day is the best time to record. I know that. And I'm experienced. So I know certain days, certain times of those days, certain months, like if it's the holidays, obviously there's going to be more noise, there's going to be more parties going on. If it's the weekend, obviously there's going to be more music and more people, not going to work and just being home. But I know when to schedule that kind of stuff. It's not impossible. It's totally fine.
Episode, a single episode dubbed. It's honestly incredible to me.
Every single actor is still this kind of bespoke situation where we are having to modify things to best suit their needs in their particular environment. Could you duct tape a blanket to your wall? Could you nail
duct tape? You don't use duct tape. Duct tape doesn't stick to crap. Of course you don't. No! You would staple, you would nail, you would take thumbtacks. Gah! You don't duct tape. That's a minor gripe. I'm sorry. That's a minor gripe.
This
Could you
over
move
here?
all of your laundry from this side of the closet to this side of the closet?
It's a lot of collaboration.
I had a session on Wednesday and it was Monday and they booked it. And I was like, oh no, I need to build a booth right now. Everyone's is different.
Oh no.
And
what am I going to do
mine's
as a voice actor?
Walk us to your pillow fort.
I would be
Yay,
happy
pillow fort!
Yes.
This part I actually do kind of like. Because I don't know, there's a part of me that actually loves this because I love seeing people's makeshift booths. One of my favorite things to watch is Mike Delgadio, Booth Junkie, watching his pillow forts and watches when he's like on the road and he has to make a booth. Anytime I see someone's video, I love that, especially when it turns out really, really good. Because there's an infinite number of possibilities. There's an infinite number of different ways that you can make something like this and it still sound good. And it's just, it's like seeing puzzles come together. It's very satisfying. Those are my kind of highly satisfying videos, those tranquil loops or whatever. That's what I watch. I watch people make booths of just like random garbage just on the wall and over their head and it still sounds good. That's satisfying to me.
So,
I like this.
This is the room. It's not a closet. It's a
Well,
space
I don't know why
of
she's
magic
laughing
for
though.
one
I don't know why
purpose.
she's
All right,
laughing.
So when you open up, you get this
closet.
beautiful, like
Oh,
Muppet-looking situation. He's
the inhumanity.
guard. And if you look up, there's the poster board I was talking about, and then the
I don't know why she
mattress
used poster board though.
I glued to it, and then I've got the blankets nailed to the wall, super fancy. Then you have to squeeze your body in with hope and prayer, because that ceiling's so low, the door won't open all the way. So you gotta like squeeze yourself in.
I had a very similar situation to
know,
this when I
Tia
first started
Ballard's so
voiceover.
glamorous.
This is not that
So
weird.
now I've got this beautiful.
Who cares what it looks
llama,
like as long as it sounds
drama
good?
hang,
Who
just to
cares?
keep me humble.
It
I got
doesn't change
another
anything.
Beautiful mattress pad, so when I get really tired, I could just be like, ugh, it's freaking taking forever. I've got some pillows.
And I'm really tired. But there's a chair
that
right there
also
beside you.
muffles the sound.
Yes.
If I'm feeling
Yes.
spicy, I could take this pillow down, put a drink up there.
Ooh.
This is basically a perfect little hobbit hole I've got. So this is the
not
tablet
bad.
that Funimation
There it is.
issued me, and then
tablet?
Funimation gave me the stand.
Headphones.
And
I own those headphones.
and the
Apogee mic.
microphone. You can turn it
Pop
this
filter.
way,
Standard
you can turn
pop
it
filter.
that way.
And
Whatever you want, really.
that's it.
This is a
That's it.
process
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. That is the entire kit. There's no mixer. There's no interface. The microphone is the interface. And again, this is all stuff. Her entire booth and that gear is the kind of stuff that independent voice actors who've been scoffed at have been using for years. And have been trying to get into the industry, but have been laughed at by people in LA and New York who are big-time voice actors who say that if you own these kinds of studios, you cannot be taken seriously. And that is why I'm coming at this video so hard. Again, it's not these particular voice actors. I don't know if any of these voice actors are the kinds of people that laugh and scoff at the independent voiceover artists who have to build their own booth in a closet or whatever. But there are people out there who are those people, who are those kinds of voiceover talent that consider themselves high and mighty and think that you can only do good work in a professional studio. I mean, that's why I'm coming at this. That's why this is so important. We're seeing people that are way up here coming down here. Hopefully, what I'm absolutely hoping is that after the industry has to come down to our level, the independent voiceover artist level, hopefully they will take, as they climb back up, inevitably back to where they were, that they will take a little bit of respect and understanding up there with them. That's what I'm hoping. It won't happen, but that's what I'm hoping.
20 years in the making. In a big real studio setting, you have an engineer that's
A real
live
studio.
matching the recording to the
a real
class.
studio.
You know if you have to get another take, or you know if this was off by a few frames. That element.
How do you as a talent not know you got to do another take?
The engineers
How do you not
don't
feel that you need
the
another
wheels
one?
Turning. Normally, the actor does not have to engineer their own session. For this setup, we've had to ask them to do that.
Cool. Well, now
And it's been a
that
huge
actor is
burden,
gonna have
and they
to
almost killed
record
themselves.
from home and
Uh-huh.
also physically do the cutting and pasting.
Physically do the I like that those were the two things that the talent now had to do. They had to record from home and they had to cut and paste. And? Well, that's it. Isn't that enough? What more could you ask of us?
Hitting recording the microphone, stopping it, placing the tape to an alternate track for the next take. All the mechanics of keeping the wheels turning.
So not only do you have to maintain your character mindset, your character voice, you also have to stop everything to shift and move things.
Now we just have to watch them and make sure they're adjusting levels right on the toolbar, editing right. Tap this, hold it.
For people who've never done this before, yes, that will be daunting. But if you're a good actor, you should be able to get in and out of the character, regardless. You should already have that skill in you already to be able to stop and start different emotions and switch. Especially when it comes to anime, because anime is so, weird in the sense that a character will just jump to a different emotion completely all of a sudden. It shouldn't be that strange. It shouldn't have been that odd for them. But they really make it sound like it's this huge, giant inconvenience.
We want to do this. Okay, tap this icon that splits it. Always remember to hit that again once we're done.
In some ways, it's like being that person in a movie that has no experience defusing a bomb, but you have to defuse the bomb and you're on the phone with the bomb expert who's
Not
like,
even
okay,
close.
now it's going to be the green wire, and you're like, there's 5 green wires.
Like you have to worry about that on top
It's
of the
not
acting.
that. It's not
so
that
it's like even
bad.
more stress. But
It's
as
not.
you get into it, the more and more that you do it, it's not so stressful.
It's like being
I've already decided, but I'm definitely gonna be doing a video very shortly after this, how to do dubbing from home. I'm absolutely gonna do that because it's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's absolutely not that hard. They make it sound like it's hard. It's not that hard.
Teacher. I was once a PE teacher.
See, I
and
like
I'm
him.
also
I don't know who he is.
Helping our son.
I mean,
right
it did
now
say his
with,
name, but I mean,
doing
like, I don't know what
schoolwork,
else he's
so
done,
I'm
what other
constantly,
projects
like,
he's
in
worked on,
teaching mode
but I
from,
like
like,
him.
10 to 6.
We've got so many actors on our roster that every day is someone's first session doing this.
Shouldn't
so
have been.
We have to be
Shouldn't have
super
been.
You just have to have patience.
Also,
That's the
your
big thing,
your
because it's
hand is
gonna take
covering part of the
time.
lens.
Something that took 5 hours took 10 hours.
And you always got to reassure them, like, hey, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
Some engineers popped in and out because they were jumping between different sessions that were happening at the same time. It seemed like everyone was working super hard.
It seemed like everyone was working super hard. I don't know what that feeling is. Is that working hard? It feels like I'm working hard. Is that what that is? Can someone tell me if I'm working hard? I don't know if this is a new sensation to me. Is that what that is? Again, ideas, not people.
Walking the actors through the process. But the engineers don't actually have an iPad with them. No engineer working on this remote project with Funimation has ever actually gotten to use the technology to do it. Take a second. So they've never actually touched it, but they've done nothing but troubleshoot the system since we started.
Honestly, all the love to engineers because what they do is it's godly. The actual
So, for the most part, really all the actors have to do, and because we've seen their mic, the microphone, really all it has is a gain knob, and I think headphone volumes. Really all it has is a gain knob, and I don't know what's on the iPad. I have no idea what bells and whistles are in the app, whether they made their own app or if they're using pre-existing recording software or a recording application like Twisted Wave or something like that. I don't know if that's what they're using, but really the only thing that the voice actors have to do is match the timing, cut out the bad takes, make sure that it's not peaking, and send the files. That technically should be all they're doing. Everything else, well, also putting up the booth, everything else is all engineer. EQ, compression, noise cleanup, leveling, peak limiters, all that kind of stuff. That's on the engineer's side. There's not that much they should be asking of the voiceover talent.
Session that happens is the very tip of the iceberg. The actual recording is the tip. And then what we're doing on the back end as producers, the mix engineers are very involved in it as well.
They should be.
And our IT department is instrumental as well in
making sure you got a good connection.
All of this back-end processing that has to happen in order to support
that is a piss-poor representation of an iceberg.
Session where they're able to
that is really like 40% at the top, 60% at the bottom. That is not how an iceberg would be.
Complexity involved in trying to make all of these disparate recording methods sound like the same. I mean, I cannot imagine. I can't even begin to imagine.
As the products started coming out,
as long as it's clean and they're using the same microphones, it should be fine. And no reverb.
Good it all ended up sounding. I'm still kind of stunned at that. And now where we are now, a couple of months later, how much tighter everything has gotten, because every week the actors just tweak their space a little more. Every week we take a few minutes just to listen. And you add all of that up, and now
this
we're listening
all
to
should have been
files,
done
and
before.
Like, this sounds like it came from a professional studio, but I know it's the actor's closet. Holy crap! It's been really satisfying to watch, and I'm really
Am I awake right now?
I'm really proud of the products.
We've got a pretty awesome team.
I can't tell you how many calls I've had where something starts as a very typical work call, and then it kind of turns into, how are things going in your world? What are you seeing? What are you feeling?
There's some kind of downtime.
How are you feeling?
During the remote process
How
where
are you feeling?
Someone's uploading their file and you're kind of just watching digital paint dry, and somebody will start playing their guitar, and then somebody else will start singing, hearing the laughter and the joy, and it's those little moments of normalcy.
We don't know what everybody's going through. We're all going through something right now, but with the time that we do have, it's like, hey, how are you doing?
I'm trying to let more of this
done.
go
Don't
by
worry
before I say
about it. We're
anything.
gonna get this done, but how are you doing?
Everybody's been so patient and so loving and helpful that a job that would be frustrating became fun.
I don't know if that's
frustrating. Only because it's new to you. It's not frustrating. It's not frustrating normally. This is not frustrating stuff. What makes it frustrating is normally the clients. and certain kinds of projects make it frustrating, but voiceover entirely is not normally frustrating. It shouldn't have been frustrating. All of this should have been stuff that they had all been prepared and tackled and knew how to handle, but they had kept themselves in the dark. They had seen this kind of universe as impossible and as to be laughed at, and now that it's forced upon them, now they're in panic mode.
Passion or obsession or whatever it is, but whatever it is, we do love what we are doing.
I've had to grow. I've had to become a better engineer, and I'm really
good.
For that.
And then to release this product right now during this time and actually have it be at the level it is, it's really, really cool. It's something that I'm going to look back on for the rest of my life with an immense amount of pride.
I think in time I'm going to look back on this I'm going to be very proud of this.
Good.
I already am.
You know, everything's not.
And I hope you don't laugh at people who do this before you, who are doing this before you.
Nathaniel, Sam, Zach, Matt, Trenton. I mean, oh gosh, there's so many people.
Now I'm like, wow, I can't wait till we're back under the office under normal circumstances, because what this has done and how it's refined the team, I can't wait to see what we're able to actually pull off after this.
It's very encouraging to look at.
Yeah, because after this, we're going right back to the studio and forgetting that even happened. Like, those were the dark ages.
We've survived. We are surviving.
It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. It's not a giant... The fact that they portray it like in those words and those terms, we survived! We're recording from home! Thank God! People do it all the time. People do it all the time.
I think what it is that we've redefined what challenges are, and then kind of figured out a new way to take on challenges that
not a new way.
Were called
You've
Yesterday,
discovered
they were
nothing.
Challenges. They were called impossible.
This is something we'll look
not
back
even
on
close.
And be like, yeah, we were a part of that. We did that, and it's awesome.
It's so cool.
You are no. You are not discovering a new land. You are discovering a land where people already live there and already mapped out every inch of it. You are not pioneers. You are discovering nothing. Not new.
It's so cool. Like, I am so proud.
That's some real love and dedication for anime.
It really is.
And so I'm going to be just thankful and grateful for the time that I have now.
Yeah, I just kind of look at this going, okay, what's next? When this all settles down, what's next? And I think some pretty beautiful, cool things are going to be coming our way.
I promise you they're not keeping it. I promise you they're throwing all that out as soon as they go back. All right, so now video is over. Video is over. We're done. Final thoughts. Now, again, attacking ideas, not people. I never want to attack people. There are a few people probably out there that probably deserve a little bit of hostility or retaliation or resistance. Some people that, are actively insulting other people. They're not actively insulting me. They're not actively insulting you. They're not actively insulting the industry as a whole, the independent, voiceover industry as a whole. They're a bit naive and they're coming off, kind of foolish, especially in their wording and, this and that. But again, they're not coming at it as they are deliberately, pointing fingers, laughing. Again, it's all very frustrating because this shouldn't have been a new discovery for them. This shouldn't have been something new. And also, if they knew of the independent market, this would have been way easier and they would have fast-tracked, and it probably wouldn't have taken a week. And if these voiceover artists had their own studio on some level and were at least aware and not completely shunning the independent market and how people do stuff from their own home, there wouldn't have been as much stress and as much chaos and as much, panic. They wouldn't have been in panic mode. But it's the fact that they were all completely naive and putting themselves in the dark and not even going into the studio aware of what makes a good studio, what makes a good microphone, what makes good audio quality, not paying attention to what the engineer is doing. Every time I'm on set doing film or anytime I'm in someone else's studio, I'm very much aware of what the other people are doing and what the other people are adding to the experience and what, how they're, displaying their talents. I like to learn things. I like to see even if I'm never going to be good at camera, lights, directing, producing, I still like to have conversations with people about what they do. I still like to know what other people bring to the table. I don't go, well, you're not a voice actor like me, so whatever. I don't care what you're doing. I don't even care to ask you what is this, what is that. I'm not even concerned with your job. Now, after doing this, like they said many times, they now have respect for engineers. They now have mad respect for the engineers because now they had to do it. We should have had respect for the engineers beforehand. You should have talked to them, seen what they were doing, respect what they brought to the performance. It's a good chunk of what makes you sound good is in their hands. And you didn't respect them. And the idea that they are incapable of directing themselves and they have to have the director, they have to have perfect feedback with no latency or else they can't perform, that blows my mind. How are you incapable of doing a good job without someone telling you whether or not it's a good job? How can you not hear that? So that's the kind of stuff that just frustrated me. It drives me crazy. And another element is the fact that a lot of these kinds of people, not these people, not saying these people, but a lot of these kinds of people who only work in studios in LA or New York or wherever, are a lot of the key holders and gatekeepers to getting into the industry. And they have often very little respect for people trying to get into the industry. No matter how hard people who own their own studios are working and how much work they're getting and how much money they're making, a lot of them do not respect the independent home studio voice actor. And I promise you, a lot of people walking away from this after COVID is all whatever, is old news, and people are able to go back in the studio, they're not taking that with them. They're not taking that respect with them. And that's what bugs me. That's what drives me crazy, and that's what infuriates me. So, anyway, I hope this wasn't too ranty. I hope if there's anyone who is in this video or anyone from Funimation who sees this video, know this, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again, I have mad respect for all of you and for Funimation. This was me attacking these ideas and concepts. Maybe it wasn't edited well in this video. Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was out of context. Who knows? I don't know. But I have nothing against any of you. So, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine, but you have to say why. If you give it a thumbs down and don't say why, it doesn't count. Subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications, and leave down in the comment section below. Like to see me react to any other video or ask any questions, be glad to answer. And until next time, peace.